Hi there, this is Mike of Nearly Enough Dice, and this is Kerbal Space Program. Yeah, there wasn't a Kerbal yesterday. I don't know if I've been trying to do a Kerbal a day, which sounds like an exercise program. But yesterday there was stuff and things. I actually did record one. It just went horribly wrong, and it was an awful lot of me going, I don't understand what's going on. What's happening? Why? Don't. Which I did think was very interesting. Also, I screwed up and ran out of fuel and looked like a complete prat, so there was that. So what we're doing is going to have another go at Asteroid Redirect Mission, Part 1. This is the beginning of a guided mission that will walk you through the process of catching an asteroid. In this part, we'll rendezvous with an orbiting asteroid. Sounds so confident. It's like, this is what is going to happen. It will happen. It's like they don't know me at all. Okay, asteroids! Awesome to look at and great to have around. Not so much when it lands on your house. Today we're going to learn how to keep that from happening. As anyone who has played Galaxy Intruders for more than 10 minutes can tell you, it's not about firing at where they are, it's about aiming at where they're going to be. This here's my ship. Quite big. It's much bigger than I'm used to. I think normally my ships are kind of like about that much. I think just the bottom of that, and then there's this whole extra stuff and added onto it. So next, for that we are going to walk through a process called a rendezvous. Really, really helpful for making spaceships meet out there and eventually dock. So pay attention. The idea is to know how far something is going and where it's headed, so you can meet at the same place at the same time. Now open your map view. Take a look at some things. So M for map view, and I'm going to just quickly put up my ball. I'm going to display my ball, the map ball. Now, through luck or divine intervention, I'm not sure that's not true. Divine intervention. This particular asteroid has been captured in an eccentric but stable Kerbal orbit. It's eccentric but stable. That's me. This is about as lucky as one can get with these bodies, because in reality, most of them will just zoom past Kerbal or take a single trip around before leaving the return. When choosing your own, I recommend you see what there is to choose from in the tracking station and track one to your liking. If you don't track it, you'll never catch it. First things first, the basic orbital mechanics. If you match your orbit to an object precisely, you'll be moving at the same speed as it is. If you're closer to the body you're orbiting, in this case Kerbal, than the object you are trying to meet, you'll be going faster and slower if you are further out. Knowing this, let's get started. I took the liberty of creating a maneuver node on your orbit and adjusting it for you to have an orbit that gets as close as possible to the asteroid. Actually, I'm sure you can fine-tune it. Sure, if you fine-tune it thoroughly, you can get even closer. I recommend using your mouse wheel to scroll when the mouse is over the node modifiers instead of dragging them to have better control. I actually dispute that. You can check how close your encounter is if you mouse over the same color intercept nodes that are close to each other. That's what the intercept node looks like. Right, so separation 119.2 kilometers. So now the thing that got me messed up when I tried this before. Just hit next actually. When you're happy with the maneuver, actually the one final word warning though: when executing some precision maneuvers, try and leave as little delta V remaining as possible, or the end result could vary greatly from what you had planned. I won't let you go any further if you don't do it close enough. When I first did this, the thing that really screwed me up and confused me is that I'm here, right? My node is here, right next to my periapsis. Oh no, that's my new periapsis. Okay. So, I'm like 3 minutes away from my Kerbal apoapsis, right? But it says 4 hours from there. What I didn't work out is because the asteroid is actually way out there, I have to do an orbit before I get to this point. And so I was very confused because I set up my burn and everything, and then my delta V just got worse and worse and worse and worse. It got actually, instead of losing delta V, I increased delta V, which is not what you want. So first things first. Other thing that screwed me up a couple of times when I did this was that I basically there was a point I do that maneuver, right? So I've done that maneuver. At which point I remove it because that's a sensible thing to do. But of course, when you do that, it turns off the SAS, and it turns off your stability system and all that kind of stuff. So I actually want to do a secondary burn to get even closer, and it didn't. And I was pointing completely the wrong way, which didn't help. Now the other thing which interests me is it says use the mouse wheel for more control, but I don't think that's actually true. I find that dragging, if I do it in slow enough increments, is better. So at the moment, because I find that if I mouse wheel, actually quite a lot of time, if I mouse wheel, nothing happens. 138. I'm not quite sure when that occurs, when the mouse wheel doesn't actually do anything. Okay. So a couple of things. I probably want my apoapsis to be there. I want that to be my furthest way out, I think. But I'm not quite sure how to do that. There we go, 195. 81. Okay, so barreling this way. The problem is there's an awful lot of non-linear stuff going on here. So very often, what looks to be what feels like a very small adjustment here, but turns out to create a great big change, which is and very often not the actual change you want. I would also have to admit quite like the idea of having some kind of reset my maneuver node, please. So 90 clicks, I'm getting there. Don't know if I can improve that. It's the fact that the claim is you can get within 10k. Which just doesn't seem very likely to me. I'm trying to work out, do I want to go... I don't think I want to change the plane of my orbit very much. The plane of the orbit seems to be pretty... Yeah, it seems to be... So that's kind of normal. Ooh, 40 clicks. That might be the lowest I've ever got it. Oh, and it suddenly went to 120. Well, I'm going to stick with 50. 50 clicks. Better. Now, somehow I am 4 hours away from the node. I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, essentially what it means is that somehow an orbit, a maneuver marker has been placed a full orbit away from. So somehow you're placing a maneuver like there, but there plus, excuse me, there plus a full extra orbit, and I'm not sure how you do that. It's very clever. I'm sure I'd love to find out how. So around we go. I'm slightly worried that it always seems to, you know, have a NA on estimated burn. I don't know if it's simply because it doesn't yet know, or whether I've done something wrong. Let's sit here for a second. Well, my only other option really is to get in relatively close. And just burn, just hit the burn. Nope, still doesn't know. The last time I remember it being about 30 seconds, so I'm going to go within 15, I think. And then go for the burn. Like I'm in an aerobics video, go for the burn. I hope I've not done that. I mean, I hope that's not something I've obviously forgotten. Brief autosave. Well, now it's decided to give me an estimated burn time. Never mind. The delta V is going in the right direction, so that's good. Nice long burn here. Keep my thumb away from the space bar. Very important. Might have to change my hotkeys to stop me from hitting the space bar when I shouldn't do. It's always slightly annoying. Annoying might not be the right term. But the orbit starts off not changing very much, and then it changes faster and faster and faster and faster. Another one of those non-linear things. That's 20 seconds to go. Burning up fuel. Seconds. Right. When you're happy with your maneuver, I've done that. So I hit next, so it thinks I'm close enough. Good job. You're now on a similar but lower orbit to the asteroid. Keep it targeted and experiment with your maneuver nodes until you have the closest encounter list. Right. This is when speed and efficiency is key. Wait until about 5 minutes away from your encounter nodes. Right-click the velocity in your nav ball so it shows your relative velocity to your target. Right, so let's do that. Can't do that. Right, so I want to get rid of that node. Hit quite a high warp. What I might have wanted to do is put a maneuver node close to the encounter nodes, so I get a better idea of when I'm 5 minutes out, kind of thing. Okay. I'll let that take some time because I suspect a lot of Kerbal space program is about taking time. Let's zoom in. Slow down a bit. Okay, 7 minutes out. Go into this. 6. Okay, so going retrograde. And hitting the spacebar, which is possibly a mistake. So that's coming down. Now I think what I've gone and done is I've possibly ejected something by hitting the spacebar, but I've certainly run out of fuel again. This is a tad irritating. Um, I'm wondering what hitting the spacebar did. So I should, in theory, be able to see this asteroid. But it might be so far away that I just can't. Okay, I'm going to have another go, and I'm going to see if I can get to this point in such a way that, in fact, I can still maneuver. And I've got to not hit the spacebar at that point. That's what I've been doing thus far. Is hitting the spacebar at that point, and I might be distancing something that I shouldn't be. So, yeah, I may have to give it another go. See you in a bit. Hi there! Right. I've got myself back more or less to where I was before. And I ran out of fuel again. And I was very confused because here it says I've got tons of fuel. But I was looking at my displays and didn't have any fuel. And I don't know whether this is how it's meant to be set up, but there is a massive, great big fuel tank. The fuel tanks of the individual rockets is really tiny. So what I've had to do is right-click, Alt-right-click on the great big fuel tank, Alt-right-click on the tiny fuel tank, and transfer in fuel. Now I've done that for all the other three, so they're all nice and full, and now I'm filling up this one. So hopefully now, unfortunately, I mean, what may have happened is I may have spent too much time doing this, so I may have missed where I want to be. Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to have ended up missing my rendezvous. But no. But it does mean that I now should have enough fuel. I'll go back to my ship view. I'll hopefully now have enough fuel to get my relative Delta V down. So, I may have to do this yet again. That's kind of alright. Oh, it's going worse. Oh, I wasn't on target. I've made everything worse. So I am probably going to have to do this again. I may well have to do a refill. But that's the thing I've learned. That's the thing that I've learned. So my nav ball was in the wrong place. I need to refuel everything. So it's Alt, right click, Alt, right click. Don't burn while I'm doing it. One thing didn't burn as much, which is kind of interesting. So I can see the Rocket Max Jumbo X64 has got a ton of fuel. Possibly I'm going to need it because I need to transfer, you know,
I'm going to need to get from there to get the asteroid out of the way. But
at least I can do that. At least I can refuel. It's a bit of an odd setup. You'd have expected. I would have thought it would have been better set up slightly differently.
Such that things would automatically do that.
But never mind.
Where is that one? And it would help if my ship had been pointing in the right direction
In the first place, which it wasn't.
So there you go.
So we're going to give this another go.
I've a sneaking suspicion I've completely lost my rendezvous, so
It may not matter
terribly much. But it's going to be good practice, I suppose. I'm not quite sure why that had extra fuel. Maybe I didn't put enough oxidizer in. Okay. So now there we go. Slowing down relative to the asteroid quite well, but I may have to. So running those fuel tanks run out of fuel quite quickly. So I'm hoping I don't need another.
I hope I don't need to refuel yet again.
I'm pointing in the right direction, so I'm vaguely hopeful. So if I do have to do this again, I'll refuel on the way. I do have quite a bit of orbit to do. After I do that, burn.
Perhaps it's going all the way around.
Right, so I've ran out of fuel again. I'm just going to grab some more. And I probably want to set up a whole new orbit. I wonder if you can do a thing of just, like showing me the target. Automatically, move the camera to the target kind of deal. Now that didn't seem to freeze. Possibly clicking elsewhere made it do other things. So it's going to refuel. Also, a closer approach would have meant less difference between the speeds of myself and the asteroid, so that would have helped. All the learning experience. Right, where's that one? That was there. I've noticed I don't think you can set up more than one transfer at a time. It would have almost been handy to just automatically have a transfer between the Jumbo 64 and all the other tanks. So there might be a way of doing that, but if there is, I don't know how. It might have been convenient, you know, like, so you just automatically take what you need. Right. So intersect 1 we've dealt with, so question is, can I make a useful intercept? Wow, I don't know what that is. I'm just playing this point. I don't think that this is not actually going to. Looks like I'm not going to be able to get a useful orbit out of all this. Yeah, because I mean the thing that would seem obvious is to point myself towards the asteroid, right? But I don't think it's that simple. No, I think moving off this screen interrupted the transfer. Right, so hopefully if I get to 0, but velocity between me and the asteroid, I'll get some more hints from here. But I may have to do something clever, like next time do a different burn. Like do another burn. To get myself closer. Okay, now you are not moving, and you're so close to the asteroid, you want to touch it. Okay, so I've found the target designator in the SAS. I've gone to that. Alright. Right. Burn a little bit closer, and then turn yourself retrograde to kill your speed again. Take baby steps trying to get closer each time. For small adjustments, you also use the RCS, H, K, I, K, and L, and J keys. Okay. Now what I would quite like, what I don't seem to have anyway, is a distance to target option. Which would be kind of nice. Right, so I'm over 106 kilometers away from it, so I've got some burning to do. So had I done various things at sensible points, I might have been able to avoid all basically, I'm going to zoom forwards. Need to refuel. So I'm going to refuel again. This may be a tad tedious. It would have been better if I'd first of all known about this beforehand. So I'm kind of trying to rescue the mission afterwards, which is never very clever. I might look up Kerbal fuel translation. There's a way of automatically transferring the fuel. So that's done. So basically, I'm gonna try and get close for a burn, and then get rid of my velocity. Might go for another burn to get close. And again, I may have to go for another orbit to try and get closer, because I'm very far away at this stage. It would be quite nice. I mean, it'd be nice if I could do it automatically. Where's the last one? It's down on the outside of it. There we go. I need to alt click anyway. Yeah, so I don't know why, but they gave the maneuvering rockets really piddly, like really piddly. That was a bad thing. That's a mistake. That stops the transfer. But I can set that to be the target. That tells me the velocity. But what I'm actually interested in is distance to target. I don't know if I can get that information anywhere. Oh, there's that jump. Nothing obvious. Right, so I'm currently pointing out the targets. The distance is rapidly closing. So if I just sit here for a bit. And I'm going to kill my... So I want to go target, retrograde. Going to have a bit of a think and point itself towards...
So it's pointing at the target, but now it's going to retrograde, do a retrograde orbit, not away from the asteroid, but back along its orbit, back along this way basically. Takes a while to do it because it's a great big huge, unwieldy spacecraft. So then I kill the velocity again. So I'm actually only 3 clicks out. Ooh, I can see it.
Well, I can kind of see
The dot.
The worry is that if I just keep burning, zooming towards it, then
I'll crash, and I won't have time to slow myself down in time.
this is cool.
I feel like I'm learning.
Basically, I'm learning a thing here. Okay. So
Just in that period of time,
I think I was more than 20 clicks out. I've got, I've got 5 clicks closer in that period. So. I also actually have to hope that I have enough fuel to at least slow myself down enough that I have enough fuel, that I have enough time to transfer more fuel. To do more burns. Might not. If I remember correctly, miles an hour is about double meters per second. I'm currently going at about 120 miles an hour, relative to the thing. Right, so I'm actually right, so I'm still approaching it. So now I want to go point towards the target and start refueling. Even that took 7 clicks to do. So that theoretically could have been bad. I might not want to go all that far. I think that one's got a bit of fuel in it. Oh no, because I didn't actually run out of fuel. Helps if I pay attention, doesn't it? Oh, it says I'm quite close to it.
So 0.6 meters per second, that's about 1.2 miles an hour. 8.9 clicks. So do being a bit fast.
now straight out.
Right, so I'm now 2 clicks away. I can't quite see it yet. 20 miles away, 2 clicks. Well, let's give ourselves.
What I should have done, because I knew I was going to go retrograde more or less immediately, or at least I was going to do the burn. I should have gone retrograde immediately and then let myself drift. So, because at the moment I'm doing this last minute, which is not very clever.
I think I might leave it a little bit once this has gotten into position.
Right, and then I can let it run for a bit. So now 1.4 clicks out. And once I'm actually pointing retrograde, interesting seems to be almost exactly anti-target now.
I might be able to. I want to be close
Enough that I can actually see the asteroid.
what I want to do.
I might actually be at the point where I should be using my RCS motors. I suddenly realised I probably should have kept track of the command tool. Kerbal. Gonna go mad. I'm approaching my tablet at this point. Oh, I can see it. Sweet. Actually bring up the design. Quite close. 500 meters. Now, theoretically, this is the tutorial finished at this stage. I'm going to see how close I can get. So H and N. So that seems to be forwards and backwards, and then the others are. Right, so I'm going to wait for it to finish. Bobbling about. If nothing else, this session I've worked out about fueling, which is a problem I've had a couple of times, where I might have been able to rescue a mission by refueling. And in this case, I actually have. That's exactly what's happened. I've managed to rescue a mission by refueling. And I think you kind of have to. I do not think you have enough fuel as it stands. Now, here's the question. Does it automatically use... Right, the RCS isn't firing again, so I'm just accelerating. Going further away. Yet more orbital mechanics don't quite work the way you think they do. Situation. I should probably go to retrograde. Jurisdiction siege. I'm still 200 meters away. It's not right on top of the bloody thing. Yeah. Because of our orbits are not, we're not actually in the same orbit. It's coming through on a shallower coming, and I'm going to be heading off that way. So you can't really see what I'm doing. So it's actually kind of important. The time I spend fiddling about, our orbits will diverge because I'm just not quite on the same orbit as it is. Okay. Meters away. Well, 130. How close is close enough, eh? Can I end a mission without crashing into something? Let's find out. It's quite big. Now that I'm quite close to it, it's quite big. Oh, wow. It does give you an indication of the size, doesn't it? So now... It's such a big, unwieldy ship. It's actually going, yeah, it's going further away from you again. Retrograde right away, I think. Might be smashing into it. No, in fact, no, I don't think so. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to miss it again. Turns out this is quite hard. This is quite fascinating. Right, I'm going to give it another go. And quite frankly, if I don't manage it, then the tutorial says I'm done, so I'll be quite happy to yeah, I'm actually, yeah, I was very clearly heading away from it. Now I'm heading towards it. And inky blackness of space. About 4 miles an hour. A brisk walking pace. You can see that it's moving relative to me. So I'm having to turn to keep it in sight. So eventually it'll kind of start moving away again. Yeah, the rate is slowing down. And beginning to... Why are my shadows up here? This is madness. So I'm within 30 meters of the thing now. Oh, and I'm probably going to crash into it. I mean, I could do with it being pretty much exactly going away from it. Well, I think that's going to be good enough. I think I'm going to call it a day. This has actually been a bit of a long one. And so I'm sure the clever thing happens soon, and that's going to be in the next part of this tutorial, which I will do next time. So if you've been enjoying watching, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff. And you can join us at www.newlyenoughdiced.com, which is our role-playing game themed podcast and blog. And until next time, reach for the stars. And try not to crash into any asteroids.